Folks, it's official. The March Quality of Life update here is now just a complete overhaul to many of the systems, mobs, characters, crafts, and bosses of Don't Starve Together, and it might just be one of the biggest releases we've ever seen. All of this, and then some, will be bundled together for our enjoyment next week when it officially goes live, and if all of this still wasn't enough, then do I have a treat for you here today. Say hello to Hotfix number 8 with its surprise woody buffs, random craft changes, and more, all the while taking yet another gander at a short but sweet Hotfix number 9 that dropped late last night that updated the art of an entirely new mob introduced in yet another hotfix prior, and then some. Let's highlight the tweaks. And we'll start with the biggest ones, of course, some of which weren't even listed on the official post here. The Ancient Guardian refinements. Now this change was, but in case y'all missed it, the new blocky ruins that fall from the ceiling during the fight and after he hits a ruins pillar will now deal damage to anything below him. 40 damage to be exact. I find this to be a great change, as it's a welcoming difficulty spike to a boss that went and got a bit too easy as of late. But cover your noggins. Oh, and remain vigilant throughout the entire fight now, as his stun mechanics have also been reworked. For you see, his charge and run up to the pillars and or blocky ruins now factors into just how long he remains stunned, and occasionally, he won't even care about being stunned at all. Now this was kind of a thing before, but it seems much more refined now as alluded to earlier, so keep them feetsies moving. And finally, I might be talking out of my you-know-what here, but I swear his jump is now a much bigger deal as he not only jumps further, but stays stunned for less time after doing so. Now I haven't quite confirmed this yet, however my one test fight here certainly felt way different from the others, so I'm sticking with my guts. Watch out for his longer leaps. But as for some other big time changes, please allow me to introduce you to Don't Starve Together's newest mob, the Varglets. Now they're not exactly new as they were added a couple hotfixes ago and are essentially just smaller Vargs, but they now have their very own derpy looking art to them after today, so there you go. And they also swim now too, so be extra aware of that. But if this is your first time seeing them, know that they will start to replace some hounds in hound waves come day 100 and beyond, can spawn in a maximum of 3 hounds themselves, including specials mind you, have 600 health, deal 40 damage now, but only drop 1 monster meat after the day 2, so make notes. Have fluffy fun. But how about we talk a casual woody buff just randomly thrown in the mix of all of this after weeks and weeks of hotfixes, huh? Cause we got one, and it comes in the forms of its kitsy idols no longer spoiling over time. Not the biggest buff in the world, of course, but being able to make and use these when we please leads to a player's choice scenario, and whenever we gain one of those, we all win. Regardless of the overall impact of the change, of course. Good stuff. This change, however, could still be in need of some love, at least in my opinion. Folks, they reduced the crafting materials needed to create a sea wreath, a clothing item that I imagine many have forgotten even existed in the first place, from 12 kelp fronds to 6. Cool. Great. Awesome, right? The only issue is that the craft wasn't this thing's only and main problem at the end of the day. Introduced when the lunar island first became a thing many years ago, the Sea Wreath was Clay's attempt to help us combat enlightenment early and quickly. And while it does help to drain sanity, and thus enlightenment, the drain is abysmal, so it's worthless. Making it easier to craft does not help that fact. It needs a buff. But while we are indeed on the topic of easier crafts, we have got to mention the Clean Sweeper. Yet another item that a surprising amount of people still don't know about. And heck, that might be the exact reason why Clay is gone and not only changed its craft from 3 living logs and 6 dark petals to 1 twig and 4 regular petals, but have also moved it from a tier 2 magic item to a tier 2 science one instead. Not 100% sure if totally normal trees will still drop one of these 25% of the time, but now that truly doesn't matter in the slightest because we can change our looks with ease pretty much immediately. To continue though, with some seafaring news and tweaks. Clay has gone and returned the boat kit to the think tank and even reverted its craft, but ores and repair kits will still be available to us immediately. And honestly, I get it. That makes total sense to me, and it is a proper place for the kit to be initially. But as for sad news, it is sounding like upcoming updates will focus heavily on the ocean and boat itself, so be prepared for that, mentally and physically, because we all know how I love the flippin' ocean. But heck, some of the stuff has already been tweaked, like the Melbatros build here. Originally, the thing offered 600 uses when rowing and 100 attacks, but now that's all been raised to 1500 rows and 250 attacks. A big increase for a big bad boss drop. Now that's good. But before we fire through some smaller stuff, just one last note. One that most won't truly understand until they actually play the new stuff themselves, but it's one that's still worth mentioning. We can now have the ability to fully interact with the entire world and everything in it with the new crafting menu open. We can fight, dig, chop, mine, zoom, turn, examine, you name it. Things we really weren't able to do before, but have slowly been gaining the ability to do over time, and now Clay just opened up the entire thing to us, and I'm thinking it's gonna stay this way. We can even move our mouse freely without accidentally closing the menus too, which is a huge plus. The menu is still a place of contention for a lot of people, and I get it, but it is getting better. Much, much better, mind you, especially for controller users, as Clay has really bunkered down and done a lot of hard work over these last few hotfixes to try to get it feeling right. They've also released all sorts of settings / keybind tweaks for individuals to play around with. We can now choose to save worlds to Steam Cloud itself in the event that our local systems lose them. Bug fixes have been dropping like flies lately in all of these posts. Modders have been shown some love here and there, and plenty more, as this update can't stop, won't stop apparently. Seriously everybody, I'm not even sure if I'm keeping up with all the changes myself. When the update officially drops next week, chances are I'll have to review my own reviews to know what the heck I'm talking about, so that I can make sure you guys know what the heck I'm talking about, if you know what I mean. But folks, there you have it. Likely the final hotfixes for this insane quality of life update coming very soon. Enjoy everything about it to the best of your abilities. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.